Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the eclipse season that's happening right now on September 7th in Pisces. And then, of course, we have the eclipse in Virgo on the 21st. Even though this is going to be published on the 8th, doesn't matter. Eclipses can last for like 6 months or longer. So, again, this is going to be for like about the next 6 months or so, probably longer. We'll talk about that. You have this card that says, show the world, the real you. And you have this card that says, fiery climax approaches. Yes. Leo, if I were to just like boil down the eclipse energy for you, I would say that it's like the end of, the end of something and the start of abundance. Because, if we look at the fact that the second eclipse, is happening basically in your second house in Virgo, I think that there could be a lot of good stuff coming in for you financially. And but again, it's like you're ending something, like everybody else. That's the whole point of eclipses, is that usually we end something or cut something out, and or we start a new chapter in our lives and kind of like move on to the next thing. Again, I think you are entering into a very abundant time, Leo. I'm not saying it's going to be easy or simple or anything like that, but I do feel that you will make it happen. And you have the Empress right here, so abundance, right? Definitely could be a lot of abundance coming in for you at this time. I do feel it's also the whole show the world the real you thing is important. One thing I will say about you, Leo, is that with the energy, I do feel you have to not be afraid of like speaking up. So not that I'm not saying that you would, but I'm just saying, I would make sure that you're being bold, assertive, that you're speaking out, you're speaking up, you're doing things that you would do if you were more bold, right? I think, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Cancer, but, I recently said to someone, I don't remember who, that, how would you act if you were 1,000 times more bold than you are right now? And that's what I would do. I would act as if you are 1,000 times more bold, because you are, but you won't realize it unless you do it. In your first row, each row is going to represent something different, and this is going to represent what is being revealed to you at this time. We have the Two of Cups, the Knight of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. Two of Cups could be love, and pretty much everyone has had love in these readings, so it really wouldn't surprise me if love was being revealed to you, or if an opportunity to have love was being revealed to you, of course. I also feel that the Two of Cups, of course, is you and your higher self. So usually with the Two of Cups, we need to, or we are communicating more with our higher self. And so I would make sure that you are taking some time or doing something to communicate with your higher self. It could be going for a walk or journaling or meditating. It really doesn't matter where you tap in and get your inner answers, but that's what I would do with the Two of Cups for sure. Also, I feel a lot of communication here. There's something about this for you, Leo. I don't know. I didn't really see this, but just intuitively, I feel a lot of you could be. It's like there is something about communication happening for you, or communication coming in for you. But it's like a lot of communication. I think that but like probably a lot of people, talking to you. You could be, what I'm trying to spit out here maybe is you could be becoming more popular than you already are right now here, Leo. But I would take advantage of it, Empress, very good card of seduction and attention, getting attention, things like that. But, I always tell people, it's like a reading, this is one of my bugaboos with tarot, right? Is that people look at it as predictive, which sure, maybe it can be somewhat, although I think it's more energy that we have to work with. So if in a reading, if it says something good is happening, you should do more of it. Like you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm going to get attention. That's good. You should be doing something to enhance the energy, right? And that's what I try to get people to do is like, don't just, get attention, get a lot of attention, really put yourself out there, do something extra to get more attention, because if we enhance the energy, we get more out of it. And that's what we should be doing. That's the whole point of watching tarot and astrology in the first place, or at least it should be. I think that's been, ruined with love readings or whatever, but we should be working with this to get more out of it. And, that's what I try to get people to do. You have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, very adventurous time. It is weird that this set of eclipse readings has been all about adventure, which like every reading that I've done has basically said that people need to be being more adventurous at this time. Part of me kind of feels maybe it's Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is in Gemini until November 7th. It's going to retrograde back into Taurus, but it's already been in Gemini. And Uranus and Gemini, we don't necessarily consider it adventurous, but what I would argue, according to Chris's crappy astrology here, is that Uranus and Gemini I think there is a part of it that wants us to create more variety in our lives. Like, instead of just learning how to do something one way, we should learn multiple ways to do something. Instead of, it kind of wants us to be like a Swiss Army knife of life. It wants us to have multiple tools that we can use to be successful at whatever it is that we're doing. And so I would be exploring tools, just like different ways of doing things. That's it. You have the Eight of Wands. Again, tons of communication here. So, I think that for the next several years, it's going to be a very chatty time for you, Leo, where you could be communicating. You could literally be communicating to the world. You could be communicating more in work. I feel that people are, like, even, let's pretend that you don't want to communicate. I don't think you'll have a choice. You don't have to do anything, of course, as I always say, but if you're out in the world and people are talking at you, there still could be a lot of communication coming in for you. So whether you want it or not doesn't really matter. I feel that you could find yourself being very popular. I feel like you could be, if you're moving or traveling or anything like that as well, I feel that you could be putting yourself in a place, or maybe what you don't realize is that you're going to be in a place where there just maybe are more people, and that could lead to more communication as well. I also feel like you're making moves. Eight of Wands is my card of making moves. But the Eight of Wands is focused. And I feel like I say this to you a lot, Leo, but you cannot pull in two directions with Eight of Wands. You have to focus in one direction on one thing to make it happen. And so you really have to focus with the Eight of Wands. But you're off to a great start here. So definitely love it. And again, Eight of Wands is a great card for abundance with the Empress. And you are definitely entering into a time of abundance for sure. With the Two of Cups, you have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. Eight of Swords, you have to set yourself free. Definitely if you want love, if you don't have it, then I feel that you should probably set yourself free in some way. Or I don't know, you're making something too complicated. If you're in a relationship, I feel like you're making something too complicated maybe. So that's what I'll say there. I feel like if you're in a relationship, I think things are fine and will continue to be fine over the next several months. But what I would say is the Eight of Swords does say don't get stuck. I do feel like maybe intuitively what I feel here is that over the next 6 months or so, eclipse seasons last for about 6 months. Although what I will say is that we're dealing with these Pisces Virgo eclipses, which we're going to have until 2027. I think the last one is in March of 2027. It's in Virgo, right? So we're going to have multiple between now and then. And so what I would say here is that, if you are in a relationship, I would make sure that you are maintaining your independence. Not that you wouldn't. And again, I don't really want to make this out to be something that's bad here, Leo, but I just think it's like one of those things where it's like, I have found over the years that if you get in a relationship and you're with a person, if you don't both have your own things that you do, it can get a little boring and stuff, right? Or, bad things can happen. So I would make sure you have like hobbies and stuff like that that you do on your own. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Queen of Wands. Yeah. Well, number one, if you're looking for love, this basically says you're very attractive at this time, Leo. Doesn't matter what gender you are, but, these are the two cards of seduction. So you definitely could be attracting a person into your life. There is love here. Queen of Wands is also about being bold, being assertive, making things happen, which I think would be good for you as well. Yes, told you. Eight of Wands, you have the Six of Wands, literally the card of popularity. Like I said, that was the word that popped into my head at the beginning of your reading, basically, was that you are going to be very popular at this time. I feel this is something that's going to last. And, the other thing I will tell you, Leo, is that you need to make sure that you take advantage of it. It's like, I don't know what I was just going to say, but it's like if I only posted one video a week, I wouldn't be as popular as I am right now, right? So, again, there's something about that popped into my head on the Empress. It's like if you don't take advantage of the energy, nothing is going to happen, obviously. So I would make sure that you're doing things to stand out. I would also make sure you're doing things to claim it, to claim the popularity and the success and all that good stuff, right? Next, in the area of what's being eclipsed out of your life, you have this Grand Symphony card and this Beyond the Ordinary card. I actually don't think this has to do with anything that's being eclipsed out of your life. I do feel there are definitely some changes that you're going to be eclipsing, but I do feel like some of you could be, you are clearly, these two eclipses for you are definitely all about removing one thing. You could say that's true for everyone with eclipses, but no, it's like extra true for Leo that you definitely could be ending one chapter, doing something new. It's like extra true for you. So, again, you could be wrapping up one chapter and really actually entering into a new chapter. I definitely feel that. You have the Page of Cups, the Empress, and the Devil. Page of Cups could be a new person coming in for you here, but I do feel what's being eclipsed out here is the dream. But I don't mean that you're not going to be dreaming any longer. I feel like you're doing something about your dream. It's like you're no longer just dreaming about it. Maybe you're doing something to manifest it here on Earth, which is, that's exactly what we should be doing. We shouldn't just have a dream and just like think about it and hope that it happens. And so, the Page of Cups is very dreamy, and he's maybe dreaming of this fish here. We don't really know if that fish is real or part of his imagination. But all I know is that he needs to bring that fish down to Earth. He needs to make sure that that fish doesn't escape. And so I feel for a lot of you, you could be manifesting a dream here. You have the Empress. The Empress is abundance. I feel that you are. I literally said it at the beginning of the reading. If you asked me before I even started your reading what this eclipse season would be about for Leo, I would say abundance, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think there's an amazing opportunity for Leo to do something work-wise, especially that creates more abundance in their life. Again, if you're doing anything involving popularity like social media, if you're working in the public eye or anything like that, it would be an amazing time for you to do that. If you're thinking about doing that, it would be an amazing time for you to do that. I think it would, because again, the energy exists, but you have to take advantage of it. And that's what I would be doing here. I do feel there could be some slight pressures. I don't feel anything too drastic here, but I do feel like sometimes in life we just have those like gentle pressures in life that kind of make us have to do something to change our circumstances. So for money, for example, it's like maybe like I don't know, like years ago I moved to Seattle, and like when my brother and I moved, we had like no money, right? So there was like, but we had like just enough to scrape by. But I was, that was very, it's kind of uncomfortable to be just scraping by, right? And so that pressure kind of led me to do a bunch of things that made it better, right? But it wasn't like, I wasn't really stressed, I wasn't like worried or anything like that. That's what I'm talking about here. I feel for some of you, there could just be some gentle nudges that are kind of making you do things that will make your life more comfortable or better or whatever you want to call it. And, obviously I would, take advantage of that energy for sure. Next, you have the Devil. Again, especially with the Virgo eclipse on the 21st, we all are being asked to, number one, watch our health, but number two, we could be eliminating bad habits, bad behavior, things that hold us back, any energy vampires in our lives. I just look at the Devil as an energy vampire. An energy vampire doesn't have to be a person. It could be a person, place, or a thing that steals our energy, and I feel a lot of you could be removing something or multiple things that steal your energy here. With the Page of Cups, you have the Page of Cups. So there you go. Basically the universe saying I meant what I said. I feel you have an admirer, or you admire a person. I'm not sure which. Take it how it resonates. Obviously, if you don't have a person in your mind, then there probably is a person who admires you. If you admire a person, then obviously it's that person right there. So there you go. Definitely could be love. With the Empress, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, like I said, I think the starting the engine is a little bit of a challenge for Leo right now. Not bad, but didn't I say this to you recently? It's like starting a lawnmower. If you've ever sometimes if you've ever started an old lawnmower, you really have to pull that cord a couple of times, right? And that's what I feel for Leo. I'm pretty sure I used the same analogy for you recently. Because again, that's like the best way I can describe it. It's like whatever you're working on or building, don't be afraid of having to try it a couple of times. Don't be afraid if you have to experiment with a couple of different ideas or directions or whatever, right? That's all you're doing. You're just pulling the string, right? It's about to start. The lawnmower is about to kick on, but you just have to pull that string a couple of times. So I would encourage you to experiment, try new things, try different directions. If you are working in social media, like try different platforms and things like that. I think all that would be, that would be the pull of the lawnmower, right? With the Devil, you have the Fool. This kind of, for lack of a better term, Leo, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this is kind of like get over yourself type energy, honestly, Again, we all need to get over ourselves, so I'm calling myself out here too, right? I'm not calling you out or anything. But it's like the Devil and the Fool, the Fool has to take the risk of looking foolish, but sometimes with the Devil and the Fool, it's like we can not get started on things, or we can not make moves in life because we're afraid of looking like a fool. But it's like that's the risk we all have to take is that we do something and look like a fool. So I kind of feel this is saying, like, get over yourself, and in the sense that you have to, do something that could potentially make you look like a fool, but I think it'll be worth it. Obviously we go up to the 10 of Cups here. Next, we're going to look at where you are being redirected at this time. You have this Stay in Integrity card in this Clear Your Energy card. Yeah, Devil again, right? I think that energy clearing, removing toxic energies, and again, we all have things, that we probably need to clear out. So, and eclipses are amazing times for this. I've said to other people, eclipses are great for removing blockages, energy blocks, money blocks, health blocks, love blocks, all that stuff, right? And this is a good one for it. The other blessing I think that people don't realize that we have right now is Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde is like deep work, and so we can, anything that's deep inside of us that needs to come out, anything we need to exercise out of us, great time to do it. So, I would be working on all those things, Leo, for the best benefit. You have the High Priestess, the 10 of Cups, and the Hermit here. It's funny, you have Pisces and Virgo in this row, right? We have these Pisces, Virgo eclipses, and North Node and South Node in Pisces as well. So, that's kind of funny. I feel it's time for Leo to reach their full potential. I always say that to you that the High Priestess, she has no roof over her head, and it kind of represents the fact of really she is the card of full potential. There are no limits to what she can accomplish. The only limit is what's going on right here between her 2 years. So I feel it's time for you to really go for something, really make something happen at this time as far as your potential is concerned. You have the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. I do feel there are improvements coming in for you here, Leo. And so, good things. I also feel pretty good about love. I do feel like some of you are being guided towards love if you want it. Again, and even if you don't want it, you are being guided towards love. But it doesn't have to be a person. It could be you nurturing something that you do love. It could be you working on a project that you will love, or something that fills your heart, which we've been talking about this for weeks in your readings, but it makes sense because you're being prepared. You've been being prepared for this, right? So definitely could be love, could be having a family as well if you want to have a family. Could be any of those things that you're being redirected towards. But, all those things could lead to a lot of fulfillment. Really, I think maybe that's what this card is saying. The funny thing is I don't really look at this as a card of fulfillment. Yeah, sure, family and all that is fulfilling, but that's not the point of the card, right? But I am getting the word fulfillment here, so I do feel, that's what it's saying. You have the Hermit. I feel like you have to let something out here, Leo. The Hermit, he has his inner light in his lantern here, but he needs to come down from the mountain and expose that inner light. He needs to share something with the world, or speak up more, or, put something out there, like I said. So I definitely feel that with the Hermit card for sure. With the High Priestess, you have the 9 of Pentacles, more abundance, right? I feel that there could be a lot of abundance that you're creating. 9 of Pentacles, she has these grapes behind her. Grapes in the tarot represent skills. It kind of represents the fact that she can do something that's very difficult for most people. And so I feel that you need to use your skills. I also feel this could be about, if you want love, this could be about letting a person into your life. Sometimes we have to make that decision to let a person into our space, basically, right? And that is popping into my head. Let's see. With the 10 of Cups, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, again, Judgment, Tower, cards like that don't really surprise me when they come up during eclipses, because, eclipses can be a wake-up call. Eclipses can, especially right now, there's so much going on that I feel could be bringing electric ideas to people's lives. Uranus and Gemini. We have this magical triangle between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in the astrology till 2027, which I think could be bringing people sudden insights and ideas and things like that. Just right to the top of your dome, basically, where all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. And really, the trick right now is making sure those ideas don't run away, right? We have to write them down so we don't forget them. And, there you go. With the Hermit, you have the Magician. Great time to reinvent yourself, Leo, for sure. The Magician is all about being in the energy of what you want to be. If you want to be something, all you have to do is be it, is embrace that energy, and you will get it. I do feel like some of you are getting something you asked for. If you've made a wish, or if you've asked for something, it's like you're getting it now. So, I don't know. I feel pretty good about that. Next, we're going to look at what is your next chapter during this time, these eclipses. You have this monster card. It says Shadow Self, Hidden Fears, and Obstacles. You have this imposter. It says Disguise, Deception, and Manipulation. Devil energy, like removing the devil from your life. It could be a big theme for you. I'm not too worried about any of this, but it is funny that we did talk about some of these things earlier in the reading, but a lot of you could be doing a lot of deep work to, eliminate energies like this in your life. Like I said, and I feel more gentle nudges. Like the reason I'm not really worried about it is like, yeah, sure, maybe Leo is dealing with little hidden fears, but it's like, I feel like you're just kind of being gently kind of nudged in that direction, if that makes sense. You have the Five of Swords, Two of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. It's funny that I just almost said the Seven of Swords, because Five of Swords and Two of Swords would be Seven Swords, but the Five of Swords is about taking a risk, which you get this with me every single reading. So definitely time for Leo to take bigger risks, I feel, and to put themselves out there. Again, taking the risk of looking like a fool. Doing that is going to be the thing that makes you the most successful, so that's what I would do here. Next, you have the Two of Swords, doing something different. Yeah, I think all fire signs are being asked to do something different right now. She's thinking like this or that, but she needs to think of another way that she can use her skill. She has this island behind her, and that island behind her represents like a third place, or a third place. I always say Two of Swords is my card of third place solutions, which I think third place solutions are going to save the world, basically. Everybody thinks this or that for everything, but there's probably a better way that we haven't thought of for everything that exists, right? And so we have to be open to other ways of doing things to find those solutions, and that's what I would do there. You have the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is about seeing things clearly. Queen of Swords is clarity. One thing I will say is that these eclipses, something I didn't predict at the start of these readings is, and I didn't really necessarily see, is that these eclipses seem to be bringing answers. Eclipses typically can bring different things to us. And, this set of eclipses, something I didn't really realize is that it just seems to be a set of eclipses that is bringing people clarity or answers to things that they've had questions on for a long time. So, you could be getting some answers or clarity. With the Five of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles. Again, more communication stuff, right? Page of Pentacles, normally we consider knights to be messengers, but I also consider the Page of Pentacles to be a messenger as well. So a lot of communication. I kind of like it with the Five of Swords because the Page of Pentacles can be something new. It's a card of studiousness and being willing to learn something new. So I feel you could be like learning something new here. With the Two of Swords, you have the Lovers. Again, opening up your heart, right? Two of Swords, she's trying to protect her heart. If she wants love, she has to open up so she can have it in her life. So, again, I'm not telling you what to do or anything here, Leo, but if you do want love, I would, open up a little bit here with this energy. I feel that, and maybe you are, it's like maybe that's what's happening. Again, we're looking at your next 6 months basically here in this last row, your next chapter. And so maybe what you are doing is opening your heart or realizing that love can be different even as well, right? Because again, she's thinking it's this or that, but really there's another way that love can go on that island. And so maybe that's what you need to open up to, is a different type of love. With the Queen of Swords, you have the High Priestess. Definitely very intuitive time. Again, more Pisces energy here. So I feel like you need to tap into your intuition. I feel you need to use your intuition more. You are very intuitive. I always say, to me, Leos are very underrated intuitives. So, I think Leo is very intuitive, but sometimes I think they don't always listen to it or use it. And so I would make sure you are. Next, we're going to look at anything I missed or anything else that wants to come out. We're using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. You have this Ostentation card. It's like, I do feel there is a little bit of this reading that's saying, make sure you're not wearing rose-colored glasses. make sure, Ten of Cups, right? Ten of Cups isn't a bad card, but sometimes with the Ten of Cups, we can look at something as better than it actually is, or the other way as well. We can underestimate something as well. But really, sometimes I think the trick with the Ten of Cups is no expectations. Just see what's going to happen, right? Just to go on the journey, enjoy it. Don't assume, just see how things go. And that's what I'm getting there. You have this inspiration card. Yes, we are in a time of inspiration. Pluto in your opposite sign, Aquarius, is all about inspiration for everybody, but definitely you. I feel, but the trick for Leo is to follow their inspirations. Like what is exciting you? What is, what's getting you up in the morning? And if you don't have anything yet, that's okay. But, I would like try to find something to excite you. Next, you have this power card. You definitely are probably gaining in power and influence. Again, like I said, I mean, obviously with these two eclipses, I think it's an amazing time for those of you that want to be influencers, that want to be in social media, that want to, even if you don't, like if you have a business, I would be on social media, right? I would be doing something to grow it, right? Because I just think there's like extra attention for Leo right now. So I would take advantage of it. You have this risk card. Can't make that up. We talked about you taking a risk with the Five of Swords. So definitely some sort of risk you could be taking that would be good for you. And finally here, if I can get a card, you have this vision card, Pisces, again. So, again, I think trusting that intuitive vision, like what your brain or what you are seeing for your life and moving and just holding your vision as well, right? Like we all need something to aim at. And I feel this is saying you need to have something like a goal or, like a North Star to aim at, especially with Pluto in your opposite sign for 20 years, right? Pluto and Aquarius, I would definitely have something to aim at, something to work towards, because it'll make you very successful. But damn, Leo, I love this for you. Very good reading. Again, these readings have been kind of, but yours is good, so I like it, but looks good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.